Who's in your corner? Is the EFF going to vote with you?
Well, firstly, let's reaffirm that we accept the decision of the courts. That's the only way, or the main way in which we can resolve our differences. And I think the court has made a decision. We respect that decision. But secondly, congratulate Mpopalatsi, that now is the executive mayor, who will politely and respectfully so vacate our seat and allow her to come in without any fight, disputes or insult. We are consulting our coalition partners, and on the basis of that, we'll be in a position to make a pronouncement on the way forward. But as we said, we really believe it's a short-lived victory, because all our coalition partners are still together with us. We are meeting them tomorrow. And on the basis of that, we'll advise South Africans, especially people of Johannesburg, how best we'll resolve this impasse.
So just speaking to Michael Beaumont, chairperson of Action SA, he says with today's court decision, they see the DA coalition as back in force, and they will put their weight with the DA. Obviously, they can rely on parties such as the IFP as well, as Freedom Front Plus and some others. But he seemed to suggest that the Patriotic Alliance might be up for grabs a little. Are you sure that the Patriotic Alliance is going to stay with your grouping come the election?
My short answer, wait and see what is going to happen in Ekurhuleni tomorrow.
But if you're so confident of the numbers, how can you not tell me what's happening at the moment in Johannesburg? And we will get to Ekurhuleni.
We respect our coalition partners. We don't want to take decisions on their behalf. And that's the reason why they left the DA, that the DA was taking decisions on their behalf. We don't want to do that. We respect them. They've got constituencies. They've got their own structures to consult. If they're still willing to talk to us and willing to work with us, we'll accept that. If they don't, hard luck. That's the nature of the game.
All right, so you're not presuming anything, is what I'm hearing.
No, we don't want to presume anything.
Talk to me about your relationship with the EFF. We saw the EFF and the ANC work together to endorse the electoral reform bill last week, which suggests that the two parties are getting used to working together. Do you know where the EFF stands?
We don't have a formal agreement as the ANC with the EFF. We manage the relationship on the basis on what would be in the best interest of our citizens. And if it will be in the best interest of our citizens to work together in Johannesburg, or in Ekurhuleni or any other municipality, we'll indeed go and meet with them and discuss with them. If they accept our proposals, we'll work together. If they don't, it will be unfortunate and we'll leave. But at this present moment, we don't have a formal agreement with the EFF, and we want to respect that.
Fair enough. Talk to me about what you think is going to happen in Ekurhuleni tomorrow.
That is what I'm saying. If you want to know the parties that will support us in Johannesburg, wait for Ekurhuleni tomorrow. It will be a demonstration of that coalition.
Why is Tanya Campbell a mayor you want to see out? Is it simply because she's from the DA, or is she doing things wrong in your view?
Well, our motion is very clear. Things have collapsed. There are people of Tembisa that went on their street for 3 days, shutting down Tembisa, and the mayor was even scared to go and meet them. How to be a leader of some people that you don't want to? Look, check the finances of that municipalities. They have to choose whether they have to pay salaries or pay municipalities or rent water. And that has been within the shortest possible time.
Yes, but the ANC has also been in power there and has also had massive problems.
Check what
corruption issues. No. So the reality is the ANC hasn't been able to do much better, and that's the problem.
Sally, the problem is South Africans that use the word corruption generally without providing evidence. In Ekurhuleni, what did we have when we left there? Clean audit. Clean audit. What happened after we left there? Things went pear-shaped. So you can't just blame the ANC for the sake of blaming them because it's fashion to blame the ANC.
I don't think it's fashion. I think it's a party that's under siege. If you just look at the state capture report, it's very clear the senior members of your party have a lot to answer for.
Definitely, and that is why the president have outlined how we're going to fight it. We don't want to hide things, but we say if you accuse us, be in a position to provide the necessary evidence. Don't just be general, because we are making things extremely difficult for everyone to deal with. So but I take your point, but we really believe we have tabled a clear motion with good reasons, and hopefully majority of political parties in that council tomorrow will agree with us. And if they don't agree with us, there's nothing wrong. I mean, that's the nature of politics. But we really feel that we are tabling a very, very strong motion, and we are quite thrilled that the programming committee this time have approved it, so we are not going to go to any court. It means that it's going to be a motion that needs to be debated and be voted in.
You respect what the court decided today. Do you believe that the way Colleen Makubele ran that process in Johannesburg was flawed? Do you agree that she shouldn't have run it the way she did?
It's public knowledge that the court says it was not supposed to be like that.
But do you agree?
I mean, how do I disagree with the court when I welcome that decision? So we welcome that decision. We learn from these things. Remember, the environment was not also conducive. You can't take that part out of the judgment. But now that the court have applied their minds and they've made the recommendations, we have no choice but to accept the court's judgment and work around it and learn from the areas in which the court feels that we need to remedy or rectify.
It's going to be a very interesting next 2 days. Ekurhuleni, no confidence motion tomorrow, then Thursday, of course, City of Johannesburg, and we will see how these negotiations and discussions pan out. But I'm going to ask you to put on your Gauteng Premier hat, because you today dealt with an issue that is so central and so crucial. Politics is spicy and exciting, and of course it's important because we need to know that our cities are run by the right people. But the truth is the drug problem in Gauteng is massive, and it goes hand in hand with an escalating crime problem. Can you give me an idea of the scale of the substance abuse problem in Gauteng and how much it's risen in recent years?
It's completely out of control, and it hurts and it pains me. Completely out of control. And any government that will surrender their own children to these drugs, that government is not fit to rule or to claim that is a government. There is no single family that can say they don't know somebody or a family member that is going through difficulties of drugs. We made an announcement when we came in as an administration. The number of calls, emails, messages that we received from parents was indeed shocking. So today we are pleased that we have unveiled the call center where people can call in. The number is 0800 22 8827, 0800 22 8827, where a parent will call, a social worker is there 24 hours, and the social worker will then be in a position to guide the family. If we feel the child needs to be taken over by government, we will do so, and that's what we intend to do.
Is that number up and running now?
It's up and running now. We launched it today. And I say we're not taking the children for the sake of taking them. We want to just give them the best medical assistance, rehabilitate them, and where we feel that we've succeeded, we're not going to dump them back to the street. Those that want to go back to school, we'll take them to school. Those who want to go back to universities, we will carry the bill of taking them back to universities, because we really believe that's the only way to safeguard the future of our children.
So you say drug abuse is completely out of control.
Out of control.
It is really a difficult situation, and solving it is not easy because there's a criminal element. You've got to make sure that your police force is on board, cracking those crime syndicates that just seem to have completely taken over. But also there's a social worker element. There's a facilities element. You need to be able to have the facilities to put a vulnerable youngster, and we know that children very young are getting addicted. How do you make sure that those facilities are in place? Because we've seen wonderful commitments around dealing with women who've been raped, and they get to a police station, there's no safe space for them, and they feel abused a second time. So how confident are you of the structures around that are not easy fixes, let's face it?
We'll do our part. I said to the team when I met them for the first time, let this be like taking our Bafana to the World Cup, or Banyana to a World Cup, or the rugby team to the World Cup. Let's treat these children or these young people with care, love. Let them feel the love of government. Let them feel the care and support that we need to give to them. And we're calling for everyone. If you think it's a government problem alone, I think you are wrong.
No,
everyone who can assist, whether it's an NGO, individual, private sector, let's unite our resources and protect the future of our children. This is the future. If we can just abandon it and say this is a lost case, I really think that we have taken a wrong decision.
Something has to be done. I want you to talk me through, because I'm thinking of perhaps family members, loved ones listening to you tonight going, I need to make this call. What should they expect once they make that call? What is the process? Because I think it's a very scary thing to do, to put your loved one into the hands of the state. someone other than yourself.
Let me assure privacy and professionalism.
Got you. But what is the process? When they make that call and they say...
They'll get a social worker, will pick up the call,
Okay.
and then they will be in a position to scan the environment. You want that child to be in a residential area, or you want that child to just be a walk-in, or you want us to come and collect that child from where you are. We'll make that arrangement. But it's the assessment that will determine the kind of support. But we are looking for every child that is willing to turn into a new leaf. We are looking for every young person that say, I'm tired with drugs. We are looking for a young person, we are looking for families that says, we tried everything, we have failed. We really believe this is the last chance, not for ourselves, only for the country as a whole.
Yeah.
And we need to combine our ideas, we need to combine everything that we have.
So the first thing, so when you make that call, you'll be put in touch with a social worker, someone who's a professional who knows how to assess the situation and provide the support that you need. Of course, the reality is that drugs, just one part of the problem.
It's true.
Criminality in Gauteng is getting
massive.
out of control as well.
And I'll come to you
So
with that,
talk to me about why a woman cannot walk down the street safely.
Sally, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We are coming with a massive crime prevention strategy in this particular province. If we can't fight crime in this province, we must forget it. And we don't want to make announcements that are not properly costed, that are not going to work. Everything, Sally, from GBV, vandalism, corruption, lawlessness. There's a high level of lawlessness. People taking down traffic lights, people just putting an informal settlement anywhere, anytime. We want to tackle that head on. So give us space. We're at the tail end of fine-tuning that particular strategy. As soon as we conclude it, we'll share it with you. But you are right. It's completely unacceptable that you can't walk freely in our own country, in our own street, and you are a prisoner in your own house, literally. So we need to dismantle that and ensure that our people are safe in our province.
I would imagine that's going to involve more visible policing. We know we don't have enough police. Can you give me a time frame, though? You say you're working on a plan, a rough time frame of when we might hear some important and encouraging announcements.
Let me tell you, I think in the next State of the Province address, we will be in a position to package and make announcements.
Sorry,
but
what
we are
did you say in the
recruiting
next? I missed that.
State of the Province address.
When will that be?
Every year around January, February, we make a pronouncement as government. It might be earlier because this is a serious matter. We are waiting for some announcement tomorrow from the Minister of Finance. If we can get what we want out of that, it might be earlier than we anticipated.
All right, so we'll be watching that eagerly. I have to ask, as a Gautenger, are we going to see e-tolls being scrapped tomorrow?
Well, we are convinced that tomorrow it will be a moment of truth. That decisive moment, whether we know we have e-tolls or not. We have put a very strong argument as the province. We have entered into solid debates, robust debates with the Ministry of Finance and Sandral. And where we are quite convinced that the Minister will be on our side.
Which is to?
Ensure that this history and this chapter is closed permanently and we don't have to talk about it also again in this province.
Oh, that would be very welcome. No. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Panyaza Lesufi joining us this evening, talking about a lot of things. There's so much on the go. But that's all we have time for this evening. Thank you so much for watching SA Tonight. I'm back tomorrow at 5. At the top of the hour, Power to Truth with Prof. JJ Tabane.